welcome to my channel. This is Dosha with DoshaDreamsTarot, and this is a reading for the sign of Libra. This is for Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus signs. Wherever you have Libra in your chart, just keep in mind this is a general reading, so it may or may not resonate with you. Just take what does, leave the rest for somebody else. You know the drill. Just want to say, cross watchers, you are welcome here, but keep in mind this is Libra's reading. So if I expose you for your bad behavior, if I talk smack about you, you can't get mad, because I am going to prioritize your feelings last in the situation. Libra. Good vibes, Libra. So just keep that in mind, cross watchers. Like you're not the priority here. Okay, moving on. Wanted to say also that gender is fluid, guys, so keep that in mind. I'm going to use gender neutral language as much as possible in order to make my readings more inclusive and accessible. But if any strong energy comes through that's like really obvious for a specific gender, then I'm going to go ahead and, channel that message, of course, because I gotta do what I gotta do, guys, but I'm gonna do my best. Also, I'm trying not to say guys so much, y'all. Like, it's the worst. I am the worst. Libra, cool. Wow. Okay, so like many of us, right, because this is a kind of a collective situation that's unfolding, like many of us, I feel that you are going through some major cycles, okay, some cycle changes right now. And you may be starting to identify what they are, which is incredibly valuable insight, right? So I feel like you may be experiencing certain situations right now that may be challenging. This is the card of Pluto. Pluto is in retrograde for most of this year, till October of this year. So keep that in mind moving forward, that this is a theme that will play out through most of the year. Just kind of take it as it comes is the message that's coming through. Like, when things happen and we don't understand why, and they are challenging, or they cause us to look at our shadows, or we kind of have like skeletons in our closet, so to speak, that stuff starts to shake out and come up to the surface around, astrological cycles like this. And so as those things start to come up, I'm sorry, I have an itch, guys, I apologize. Basically, as those challenges come up, we're going to be tempted to kind of slide back into old ways of thinking, where we'll be like, woe is me, like, why is this happening? This is natural when we're experiencing challenges, right? Or setbacks, or things that we didn't expect, and we might go into hermit mode and hide out, or we might do the opposite, where then we you know what I mean, go wild and kind of like, go crazy with the, kind of coping mechanisms, whatever they are, right? So we all have our own cycles, basically, that we play into when we experience challenge, right? And so I think that's kind of the areas that I feel like we want to get out of our challenging places, like, as quickly as possible, or we want to cope with them as effectively as possible. So a lot of times people will, like I said, kind of slide backwards when we're in these moments of challenge, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that, like, you haven't made any progress, or that you're not a stronger person than you once were, or that you're not moving forward in your life. Like, it's just that these moments can be really, really can shake us, right? That term, it's so funny, I'm just having this term come to mind, but when someone's shook, right? Like, because they're shocked, or they're scared, or they're, they're shook, right? So, like, that's kind of the energy that I'm getting, which is just a funny thing in this context. Like, I don't use that word in this context at all, but it's coming up. So it's like, it basically can make us feel like we're not on stable ground. It can make us feel like we are like our whole life is up in the air now, because we're encountering this major challenge, which it could be, okay, so this is we don't have to be scared of this, okay, because the wheel is always turning, and it's not always going to be in our favor, right? Sometimes, well, it is in our favor, though, whether we know it or not, because when we face challenges, guys, it brings up the things that we need to work on, heal, look at, let go of, whatever it is. And so these moments can feel like punishment. It can feel like, we are being judged by the universe, and the universe is judging that, like, we aren't doing a good job, so here's a punishment, right? But it's actually the opposite. And I know that's like really hard to wrap your head around, because we're basically taught, that I'm going to keep shuffling, but I just want you to recognize that this could be happening because it is a catalyst. It's not necessarily a punishment, okay? It is actually a tool that is used by the universe to extract from us the things that we are holding on to, the things that are stagnant in our lives, the things that we are afraid to look at. You know what I mean? And so misfortune is a way for us to address them, you know? It really is. And it brings up so much in us when things go wrong, right? And it brings up our lack of how do I put this? It makes us question ourselves. It does. It makes us question if we're doing the right thing or not. It's a course correction type of energy. And it does make us question, like, okay, if things aren't working out for me right now, things aren't working out, right? Because that's the way we'll see it, is like, okay, either I'm not making enough money, or, you know what I mean, something fell through, or, you know what I mean, I don't know, my car broke down. Like, there's so many things that can happen to us where we're just like, why me? Then we start to extrapolate and we go, why? Is it because I have been this way or that way lately? Or is it because I didn't do this thing and instead I did this thing? You know what I'm saying, guys? Like, we start to question ourselves. We start to question our own worthiness of fortune, right? Of things going well. But that's the thing, guys. I'm just setting down the cards because Spirit's just wanted me to talk right now for a second. But really, guys, it's more like, when it comes to this whole concept of, if I'm doing well, then that means I'm doing the right thing, right? And if I'm doing poorly, that means I must be doing the wrong thing. I'm being punished. This concept, guys, it doesn't just come from, well, it mostly comes from organized religion. It really does. It's kind of like theology, and it basically, it comes from not only, Christianity, which is obviously, like, right, the dominant world religion, but it comes from, other religions like Hinduism and the other major world religions, and like the belief in karma and everything like that, right? And so I'm not saying, guys, that necessarily, like, all of that is garbage and you need to throw it all out the window if you're a believer or if you're, like, religious or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, we gauge how well we are doing, like, morally, right? Based on what it is that we receive. This still wants to come out. That this may be putting your relationships to the test. This could be putting your commitments and your kind of, like, foundational relationships to the test right now. And you could be really, really questioning yourself, because, I don't know, Libra, it's just, it's a hard one, because, like I said, I think that we a lot of times will gauge ourselves based off of what's happening to us. And I'm just saying that while some of those theories and some of those concepts and ideologies are, it's giving you an opportunity to let go. Like, I did mention that with the Judgment card. But, like I said, to a certain degree, that is the truth. That energy is that way. But at the same time, guys, there are things out of our control, and that was the concept that Spirit was trying to bring forward. I'm sorry that I'm not pulling cards, y'all, but this is what needs to be said here really quick, is that Spirit was trying to say that misfortune is actually a tool used by the universe to extract from us what it is that we are holding on to, the skeletons in our closet, any toxicity we may have been able to suppress because we're doing good. So, why I don't need to address my addictions, because when I'm doing good, I can stay sober, everything's fine, right? But then as soon as things go wrong, you immediately turn towards those crutches again, because that area in your life when things are going wrong, when you're challenged, that's your weak zone, right? Spirit is doing this to strengthen you, and not only just strengthen you, but to show to you where you need to strengthen yourself, okay? Because it's not necessarily like it's more like holding up a mirror. It's more like poking, You know what I mean? I know this sounds fucked up because Spirit is not playing with us, though. It's not a game, and it's not like, you know, oh, how evolved are you? Let's test you. It's not malicious. It's literally the way that energy works. Like, I feel like it's the way that life works. And I feel like, just as much, like I said, the wheel keeps turning. It's not always going to be in our favor. And when it's not in our favor, sometimes are some of the most valuable lessons. And that's when we learn the most about ourselves and about life, you know, because we learn that it's okay to not be doing well. Like, it's actually good for us. And it's not only okay that it's happening to us, but it's nothing to be ashamed of. And also, other people, like, it will bring out things in other people that we didn't know was there. Us being challenged is actually a challenge for the people in our lives too, because how are they responding to our challenges? You know, it's serious. And it could be like, for some of you guys, Libra, I'm getting that you may be in like a romantic partnership because of that Four of Wands, but also it's just something coming up for me right now. And when you're challenged, I'm getting that like your partner may start to act differently towards you, and it's really hurtful, and it makes you start to question yourself even further. Well, I'm here to tell you guys that that's not okay. Like, I'm just letting you know that that's their shadow. That's something that's going on with them, where when you're challenged, the people in your support system, I'm just saying, guys, if it's a healthy support system, they rise to that occasion. And it brings out in them the love that they have for you and the compassion, and they show up for you. You know, that's what support systems are supposed to be for, not just for good times, guys, you know? It's for difficult, challenging times too. And I feel like this is so funny. I'm not even pulling cards, guys. I'm sorry. Sometimes Spirit just gives me these messages, and it's just like the cards help push the message along, but it's not like, you know. But anyway, sorry. I just want to finish this thought because it's a really, really important one. Like, Spirit is like really, really like being like download right now about it, because you guys, it really breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to see people going through challenges, and then they have to deal with the heaping shame and you know, what's the other word? I almost said remorse, but it's not remorse. It's shame and disappointment, and like, nobody should be heaping more challenges onto you while you're in a challenge, okay? Sometimes, guys, our challenges do have to do with our decisions, and it is our responsibility, and it is our behavior that led to this challenge, right? So we do have to take responsibility to a certain degree. So I think people in our lives sometimes, you know, when we're challenged, part of the challenge is them holding us accountable and holding us to our responsibility level and saying, hey, you know, if you can take responsibility for this, I'm willing to help you. But if you act like none of this is your fault and it's all just unfair, because that's that part in you that's being challenged, right, to grow and get stronger in the face of challenge, then it's like people are holding you to a certain standard sometimes, you know, and it's not because they don't love you, but it's because they know that they will just enable you if they just sit there and be like, man, you're right, this is so unfair. I can't believe you lost your job because you freaked out on your boss. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you freaked out on your boss, dude. Like, what did you expect? Like, even if your boss sucks, like, you should have known that you would probably get fired for that. You know what I mean? This is just an example, guys. Like, I'm not even really channeling that for anyone specific. Maybe it does resonate for some of you guys out there, but what I'm basically saying is that these challenges are sometimes of our own doing, and a lot of times they're not, you know? So it's important for us to not blame ourselves, okay? Not judge ourselves because we're going through a challenging time and things aren't working out, right? And instead see it as an opportunity. And I know that that is one of the most challenging things to do when you're in the midst of a challenge. So I hope for some of you out there, if you are in a challenging position right now, that these words are at least still comforting in some ways, so that you know that this isn't something you should, you know what I mean, feel take so personally, where that you're like, man, like, I must be fucking up really bad to have things going this way, you know what I mean? And that's not always the case, guys. Like, it's really not. And I just want you guys to feel supported in these challenges, you know, because these are the moments where that we are most vulnerable to information. Also, sometimes people shut down when they're in challenging times, and that's totally understandable. It's all about like self-preservation. But other times it's like we're cracked wide open because sometimes we're just broken by it, or we're just blown open by it, or it reopens old wounds, or you know what I mean. Like, this Judgment card just isn't going away, guys. It's like sometimes we have these old wounds resurface. We have these old challenges resurface. What's underneath it? Page of Pentacles. See, an opportunity. This is an opportunity to begin something new because it's showing you something about yourself, no matter what it is, even if it's hard to look at, guys, even if it's shitty or it's embarrassing or it's, you know, I keep wanting to say regretful. I don't know why. Maybe some regrets are coming up for you guys right now. That could be highly possible. But I'm getting it's more like it could feel really, like I said, embarrassing, or like you could be really, like ashamed of yourself. I don't know why I'm getting a lot of that too, guys. That this could make you actually look at your life story and be like, where did I go wrong? And, you know, all that sort of thing. And it's, like I said, it's natural. It's self-reflection. You're trying to understand, like, why are things not going well for me? And I you know what I mean? That's, like I said, it's natural, but it's especially enforced by certain types of theologies that will encourage us to punish ourselves, right? And judge ourselves and say, you know, oh, I'm being punished by the universe or by God because I must have sinned. So it's my sins are directly correlated with my misfortune. And like I said, guys, sometimes they are. And I'm not going to necessarily use the terminology sins and punishment because that's not really like the way that I see things. It's more like actions and consequence, right? So it's more like, okay, yeah, I drank myself into a stupor. I was fucked up. And then I drove home and I got pulled over. They impounded my car and fucking, you know what I mean? It's like, well, that fucking sucks that now you don't have a car, you don't have a license, you know what I mean? You probably had to spend the night in jail, depending on where you live, they do that, and then they charge you all this money. It's like, yeah, that's fucking horrible, right? That sucks that happened to you, but if you hadn't gotten fucked up drunk and drove home, then that probably wouldn't have happened. Do you see what I'm saying? Some of the times these misfortunes are directly correlated with our actions. Other times it's just luck of the draw. It's just a roll of the dice, and you either, you know, you get what you need or you don't. And it's not always about you personally, but the way that it impacts you shows you something about yourself on a personal level. You see what I'm saying? So that is the gold. Like, that is the gold, not with the D, not the goal. You know what I mean? That's where the value from misfortune comes from. It's not the misfortune itself, but it's what it shows you about yourself that's valuable. And every time that you experience a challenge and you decide, I am going to grow from this, I'm going to get better at handling challenges from this, I'm going to get more optimistic, and you start making these decisions for yourself, it's like, y'all, you're going to grow from this. You're going to grow so much from this when you make those decisions. And you're going to say, you know what? Next time I go through a challenging time, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to tap into this part of myself, you know what I mean? And these wounded parts of me are going to keep healing, and I'm not going to keep tearing them open and being like, oh, you know what I mean? I'm a horrible person. I deserve this. Or like, you know what I mean? Of course this would happen to me. You know, how do people say it? Story of my life. That's what it is. You know, this whole story of my life narrative, right? Where you're like, yeah, this is just what happens to me, knowing my luck, stuff like that, right, Libra? And like, we have to be careful about that, because then we create that narrative within ourselves. So then when these things happen, we do take it personally, you know, and we break our own heart about it, and we drive that, you know what I mean, stake into our heart, like, because of our thinking, you know? But instead we could look at that and be like, okay, fuck, you know what I mean? This sucks. This sucks. I don't suck. This thing that's happening sucks. And I have to try and respond to this challenge in some constructive way. You know what I mean? So I don't, like, freaking sit here and beat myself up about something that, you know what I mean, I can or cannot control. Like, where could I have done better? All right, self-reflect. But then also, where was this totally out of my control? And And how can I just trust that the universe is trying to show me something about myself here instead of the universe is trying to punish me, right? You know, and I know it's easier said than done, guys. Like, I only can really, like, I tap into this stuff, like, because I have literally been through so much shit, y'all. And, like, I used to do this to myself. I still do sometimes, you know. I'm not perfect. When challenges hit me, it brings up a lot of emotions in me. And my addictions come back up. You know what I mean? Everything comes back up. And I really, really do have to try hard. And this is like a good message for me too. I have to try really hard to take that, like, that insight and apply it and be like, fuck, you know what I mean? Now here I am, and all of this stuff is coming up, and I'm feeling overwhelmed, and I'm feeling triggered, or whatever it is. I'm having emotional flashbacks, and it's like I have to remind myself, okay, this is an opportunity to shine some light on those things. This is an opportunity to look and realize, wow, I still have a long way to go. And it doesn't, we don't have to feel daunted by that. We can instead say, okay, cool, this is a check-in. This is just a universal check-in, being like, hey, you know what I mean? It's like hitting your knee, seeing if your leg kicks, right? You're like, what is my knee-jerk reaction? How do I automatically respond, you know, instinctively respond to challenges? Do I get angry? Do I get sad? Do I, you know what I mean, turn to my coping mechanisms, right? Like, these are just good things to know. You know, it's good to know how you're responding to challenges automatically. Like, what's your knee-jerk reaction? It's a checkup, you know? And then when you do that, because you can't change it if you don't look at it, you know? And you can't change it if you don't know it. But once you know it, then you're like, I really don't want that to be my reality. I don't want to break down every time something challenging happens to me. I don't want to, you know what I mean, get into a depressive funk every time something challenging happens. I don't want to, you know what I mean, turn back to my coping mechanisms and my addictions, you know? And so once you set that standard for yourself, like, okay, I'm not going to do all these things. You know what I mean? If I got to cry, I'm going to cry. That's okay. But I'm not going to cry endlessly, right? I'm not going to cry while beating myself up. You know, I'm just going to cry for the misfortune itself and just be like, damn, you know what I mean? And then be like, okay, moving on. Let's adapt. Let's think, you know, positively as much as we can, right? Optimistically, be like, okay, well, what are some alternatives? Or how can I work around this? How can I work with this, right? You know, and I think the biggest thing, guys, is also looking at the way that other people respond to challenges too is also really, really good learning for us, which is part of why I said in the beginning, or I don't know when I said it in this video, but part of the reason, and I hope you guys also are really like okay with the fact that I literally did not put one card down on the table and just talk to you guys a lot this video. Honestly, that has been kind of like happening lately where I only pull a couple cards, or Spirit is just like channeling messages so much. I'm like, I gotta get this through. So I hope that you're enjoying that. But to finish my thought, remember when I said that the people around you are responding to your challenge as well. And you seeing the way that they're responding to your challenge is showing you things about them. You know what I mean? And hopefully it's showing them things about themselves, right? Challenges are incredible learning opportunities for everybody involved. Everybody involved. And we have a decision, right? We can set intention for that, which is cool, because then we can say, okay, next time I face a challenge, I want to practice this thing. I want to try out this concept, this technique or something, right? I want to try deep breathing, or I want to try, and it's hard to remember in the moment, but you practice and you think about it before it happens. And you're not going to manifest challenges by doing that, guys. Trust me, there's plenty of challenges in life without you needing to manifest a damn thing, right? Because it's literally half of life. Like, here's the thing, guys. I'm going to put these cards down. But what I want to say here real quick is that life is a series of cycles, right? Like, I feel like most of us understand this. I'm not necessarily sharing anything like new and exciting and edgy with you guys, kind of, because it's, you know, because it's my little special spice. But no, it's because the way that I see it is we have a series of upswings and downswings. Like I said, the wheel keeps turning in our cycle. So we have fortune and misfortune, right? That's just a part, it's integrated into life. And like I said, it's not good and bad. It's actually just, like, I wouldn't say it's all just good, because that's kind of hard to say also and it be accurate. But I'm saying that it's all valuable. How about that? It's all valuable. And it's all opportunities to learn. And at the end of the day, guys, we don't take any of it with us anyway, you know? And we're just going to move on from this particular moment in time, from this particular life, right? So when we are able to fully embrace that concept of the temporal nature of life, then we can say, well, you know, shit. Well, so I don't want to necessarily sit here and just be upset about it. What can I learn from it? Or how can it make me grow? How can it improve my life? And how can I, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, guys, because there's no point in, basically the way I see it is live your life however you want to live your life. First off, that's your fucking choice, okay? And I say it like that because, you know what I mean? Sometimes people live their lives in ways that are harmful to others, and that sucks. And I hope that people choose the challenging path. You know what I mean? Because I just personally, I do believe in spiritual longevity. Like, I believe in the life of the spirit. And when we leave our physical bodies, this is my belief system, that like our spirits do live on, and we do carry the memory of what we experienced in our physical life. And whether or not it's a vivid, like, visual memory, and we actually understand everything that we experienced as a human, right? Or if it's just a energy signature, you know, that is valuable information. That's valuable energy. That's valuable to take forward into the universe, wherever we're going. You know what I mean? That's just my belief system. I don't know if that's even right, because guess what? I don't know if I've died yet. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason why it's a clean slate when we start our lives. There's a reason why we don't know, you know, and that in and of itself is powerful information, because we realize, wow, we're meant to just focus on this. We're meant to just live this life, no matter how long or short or, you know what I mean, challenging or easy. It's all important. It's valuable. Does that make sense? So everyone around us is also really valuable. It's valuable lessons. It's valuable learning opportunities. And we can choose how we see life, you know, and that's an amazing thing. And so if you want to see life a certain way, then you just have to choose it. Because literally, guys, we can live in completely different realities here, right? We could. And we could be having the same experiences, but live in a completely different reality, see it a completely different way. So if that's the case and that's possible, choose what reality you want, you know? And I'm not saying that you can pretend like some things aren't real and pretend other things are real that aren't real. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's your narrative, it's your lens, it's the way you look at it, you know? And hopefully for a lot of you out there, you have a basis for that, you know, so you can start to build on it and you can start to play with it and be able to say, you know what, fuck it, why not? You know, because I'm just going to die anyway. So like, why not? Why not try to see life as something that is exciting, or, you know what I mean? Whatever. Like, you know, this is just, I'm not saying it's easy, guys. That's the other thing. It is challenging to change your mindset. It's challenging to see the world in a certain way. And this is part of the reason why I feel like challenges are such a big thing in this reading right now, because they truly are, I feel like, the basis for our experience and how we build strength, you know? So I really hope for you guys out there that this was a helpful message, you know? I really do. And I hope that it helped unlock some things inside of you, you know, to be able to look at what it is Spirit is like really, you know, kind of sitting you down in front of a mirror, okay, and kind of maybe, you know, hitting your knee to see what if your leg kicks, right? And you don't have to be upset with yourself either way, right? You can just look at it objectively and then be like, okay, how can I play with this, right? So anyway, I'm going to leave it there, y'all. I appreciate you so much. I really do. Thank you for continuing to come back and support my channel. I hope this message resonated with you. And if it did, I really do wish you well in these challenging times, okay? And I send you guys a lot of love, you know? So please feel free to interact with the video. Drop me a like, a comment, share it. Subscribe to my channel if you like. Also, if you need a dream interpretation, that info is in the description box below, as well as my donation links. So feel like dropping me a donation. Heck, I don't mind it. I appreciate it a lot. It's hard times out here. But anyway, I appreciate you guys again. Thank you so much for stopping in, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.